Jesus cried with a loud voice, Father, into your hands I place my spirit.
The emblem of suffering and shame, and I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners were slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. Rugged cross, I will ever be true. His shame and reproach gladly bear. Then you'll call me someday to my home.
Truth was seen, revealed this mystery. The crown that showed no dignity he wore, and the King was placed for all the world to show disgrace, but only beauty flowed from this place. Would you take the place of this man? Would you take the nails from his hands? Would you take the place this man? Would you take the nails from his hands? Hear the weight of impurity the Father would not see. Reasons have finally come to be to show the depth of his grace flowed with every sin erased. He knew that this was why he came. Would you take the place of this man? Would you take the nails from his hands? Would you take the place of this man? Would you take the nails from his hands? Yeah, we just don't know. Blood and water flow, and in it all he shows just how much he cared. And the veil was torn so we could have this open door, and all these things have finally been complete. Would you take the place of this man?
Simon. It was a Passover time, and thousands of pilgrims came to Palestine. They came to Jerusalem. And Simon of Cyrene would have been one of them. You heard the lesson. And when Jesus fell under the weight of his cross, this soldiers told this stranger, they didn't ask his name, they didn't ask for his ID card, pick up this cross and help this man. And I could almost hear him saying, like some Trinidadians, look at my crosses. Today we're going to talk about that. Look at my crosses. Those miserable ancient Phoenicians and those murderous, sadistic Romans who used the cross as an instrument of extreme torture, of prolonged agony, intense pain, and slow death. Oh, those proud conquerors of the ancient world, people like the Phoenicians and the Romans, who will not crucify their own people. No, that was the custom. You know, Romans never crucify Romans. No, they will not crucify their own people, but they will crucify people of other nationalities because the cross was used for humiliation. It was used to denigrate and dehumanize and put to shame all cross victims. If you are a Roman, you'd never be crucified as long as you have your ID card. These civilizations, such as these we have mentioned, they crumbled and they never recovered as though a curse fell on them from all cross victims. But Jesus' response was different. He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Today's Good Friday observance worldwide will feature services like this one, bigger services, large crowds, processions with a cross. The cross is a reminder of the horrific cruelty mankind is capable of inflicting on one another. We have taken that and we understand not only in the cross, but every form of cruelty is symbolized in the cross that you see in these processions. This one, pretty cross, and all the other crosses. That cross that is at the heart of today's worship in every country in the world. It's the theme of many sermons like this one, and the prayers and the hymns call for peace and respect for human life. The cross testifies to the kind of sacrifice and the determination of Jesus to reach out in love and mercy to the world. Today we will, bearing this in mind, we want to look at that common expression I have heard ever so often. Not only Simon of Cyrene must have said it, but a lot of Trinidadians will say, look at my pain, look at my predicament, look at my misfortune, look at the disaster befalling me, look at what life has dished out to me, look at my crosses. Our society is in distress and pain. Look at the crosses that have been placed on the shoulders of so many people in this country, as the cross that was placed on the shoulder of Simon of Cyrene. Ours is a distressed, cross-bearing society, for whom the social wreckage. You remember the story of the Malaysian airliner that went down, and they're searching for the black box, which will give them a clue as to what has happened? The social wreckage in Trinidad and Tobago is as though somewhere in the ocean floor of hopelessness, our black box is lost. Like if we don't know what is responsible. What is responsible for the social wreckage that is not only today, Good Friday, we are noticing this. It is there scattered all over, littering the highways of our social order. Look at Trinidad and Tobago's crosses. Its family life is under the greatest threat. The last week's story, the Matura murder of a 10-month baby and a 3-year-old child by a parent. It reminds us that something is wrong with home and family life. You notice in that story, in the media, the Matura murder of the 2 little children, the children's surname was different from that of the so-called father. The father who murdered them. Was he a living in boyfriend? Or one of those ill-fated cohabitational experiments that is so common in this land? Last month's case is only an example of the child abuse, the widespread child abuse in this country. The regular reporting of, and also those that are hidden, that we don't know about. The cases of incest, very common. Strangers are violating our homes. Oh yes. And I think one of the things we have to say is that men and women need to go and fix their marriages. There is too much crucifixion of children in Trinidad and Tobago. Too much crucifixion of children. The unruliness among the young people, girls in gangs after school, and the boys have always been in it. It is a problem we've had. Look at my crosses, look at the social crosses. Look at my crosses, the most heinous and brutal murders, the homicides. Up to this date, we have had about, I hope we didn't have any last night. So far, the statistics tell us there are about 131 murders in this country. People are saying, look at my crosses. We are put in the class of the murderous Phoenicians and the Romans. Ours is the handgun. It is triggered by spite and hate and jealousy, anger and bitterness. Those are the triggers. Look at my crosses. Look at our crosses. Social crosses, the crosses that have been heavy for us to bear. You remember that story of the First Citizens Bank scandal that many of us don't understand because of the technical jargon of those who know about money? Those in the financial sector, they use a technical jargon, all kinds of nice words like fiduciary, which I asked a fella who was selling me gas. I say, you know the meaning of that? He said, I said, where you have your bank? Where you do your banking? He said, First Citizens. That story in First Citizens Bank is only the tip of the iceberg in Trinidad and Tobago of the greed and the opportunism that is flourishing in this country. Look at my crosses. It's a case of a bank executive quietly used his privileged information. He bought 14.5 million shares and he sold it in tutus and made $12 million profit. A simple person was telling me, and he does banking there, and it could be anywhere. I said, do you know that the verdict for that kind of insider trading and that kind of profit that is made in a few hours, do you know that the verdict is whatever the gentleman did was legal and above board? That's our state bank. Who cares about the thousands of small people? If it had not been for the deposits of the small people in Trinidad and Tobago, in First Citizens Bank and in all the banks, there will be no banks. And yet, the laws are couched in such a way that only the privileged could benefit. And small people remain small and they remain poor. And nobody cares about that because the laws are made in such a way to be exploited and used by the privileged. Look at the crosses of the poor man, the Simons who are here, not only of Cyrene, but of Trinidad and Tobago, upon whose shoulders a cross has been made. Now for now, somebody will make 12 million, and all those